What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Speak On It. Y'all know what it is. It's me, Bit to mine. My man Bit probably be on a little bit later. But we got a jam-packed show. Football, basketball. So first thing I want to do is say what's up, man. Thank y'all for joining. Tamar, how you doing? How you doing? How was your week, man?
Man, all is well, man. Just another day in paradise.
Dang, man. Same thing. Went away for Cole's family reunion this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Um, had a good time with them. Good way for the kids. So it was a good week. You know what I mean? In the meantime, while we was away, while I was away, my man Ime Udoka was out here playing. So want to touch on it, man. We talked about briefly in the chat.
Mhm.
You know what I mean, he cheated on Nia Long. You know what I mean? Anyway, um, he got a year suspension,
Mhm.
which I was, I was, I'm still so on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So on the year suspension. Um, but what's your thoughts on it?
Um. I mean, like I said in the chat that we had from a business standpoint, for it to be out in the public, um, I could definitely see, I guess, the reason why. Um, but at the same time, I didn't know all the details, which I don't know all the details per se. But for the most part, I mean, I guess it was a lot scandalous than we thought. Um, and granted, it's, I mean, you can't really take affairs like that into the business place, right? I mean, there's policies in that with different companies and whatnot. And I mean, the Boston Celtics for the organization. Um, Not only that, the fact of one of the things I seen was Matt Barnes. Uh, he stated something about it, and then he quickly retracted because he's in the media and he's getting calls and details of what actually went on. And me watching him and Stack Five in their podcast, I mean, to me, he seems like a very credible guy. For him to backtrack his statements, it made me think like, okay, it may be a little worse than what's portrayed. Um, but just on the flip side, not knowing the details, the optics make it look crazy. You know what I mean? So no, I really don't want to know the details at all. You know what I mean? That's none of my business. But at the end of the day, I mean, it must have affected the franchise a lot in order for them to go this route to suspend him for a whole entire year.
So my thoughts on the Matt Barnes thing is that he worked for ESPN. I think his initial reaction was his real reaction. I think he had all the details from the jump, or yeah, I mean, some of the details. Um, I think when everybody at ESPN is saying the same thing, with the exception of some,
Hmm.
that makes me a little bit iffy because it makes me feel like you're being told to say that from Malika to Matt Barnes. I mean, to a bunch of people
Hmm.
who are on that airwave, they all saying the same thing. I kind of lean towards what Stephen A. said and what Perk said. Um, Two things: who leaked the information?
Right, right.
That's my that's my first thing. Like, who leaked the information? Was it the Celtics? Somebody in that order? Because who would have that much information for them to leak it? And who benefits from them leaking it?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What is the ulterior motive? What is
Right,
not even ulterior motive? What is the motive for?
for the leak.
Yeah.
So that got me thinking. But just in general, right? So I was thinking about like, okay, boss, boss employee relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I said this to my wife. I'm gonna say it on here. I think, I guess it's a very fine line as
Mm-hmm.
to what you should throw out. But a lot of stuff you technically should throw out if we're being real, because you got two adults.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's consensual,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna stop. I don't care what rule you put in place. You ain't gonna stop two adults from doing what they want in with their life. You're just not gonna stop them from doing that. So I think if that was why he got suspended, I I just feel like the punishment doesn't meet the crime.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they're adults. And from all my account of the reports, it was consensual.
Right.
With the exception of probably, I think one report came out and said that this is where I think it gets conflicting. Because a report that came out said that he made a pass at her that wasn't warranted. But then there was another report that came out and said that the husband the husband heard a conversation that they had on the ring.
Mm.
So to me, it's like, and then the report says it was consensual. So if it was consensual and they both knew what was going on, I just don't see what the issue would be. And again, I think I do want to say this. I do think MA was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say that I think he was wrong. But a year suspension on what the report says is a consensual relationship. I don't get it, man. And again, like you said, maybe we don't have all the details.
Like the only thing I can think of is somebody higher up's significant other. Like that. I mean, like you said, the punishment without all the details, it doesn't make sense, especially with what is out. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, you have people from ESPN. I still stand by. I feel like even though he works for ESPN, I feel like he's got a good head on his shoulders with Matt Barnes. I don't really defend him too much, but needless to say, I I I, I mean that's the one thing I can think of. Like, yo, it's got to be like the owner. It's got to be somebody higher up. And yeah, so
Yeah, listen,
that's all I got for that one.
I can
He
see that,
definitely was wrong in all types of capacities. Um, I mean they didn't fire him.
which is another thing that stood out to me is you didn't fire him, but you gave him a year. You gave him a year-long suspension, and you cut his pay in half, and he agreed to it. So I guess maybe it's messier than what we think.
Yeah, yeah. It's none of my business.
I agree. It's not. I just want to touch on Stephen A. said this, which is really what I want to get to is this has been going on for forever.
Mm-hmm,
Sports.
mm-hmm,
This is the only one that we have heard of or I can remember that's been publicized like this.
mm-hmm,
Most of the time they said it's handled in-house.
mm-hmm.
Why now is this being brought to the public eye? Why don't you handle these things in-house? And why keep him on the indefinite suspension? Why not just fire him? Those are two things that stood out to me. Those are two things that are still baffling to me.
I would agree. I mean, like, just it's a lot that doesn't make sense. And I mean, we know he's wrong. It's just a lot. Like you suspend him, but you don't fire him. Um, yeah, yeah. So I mean, stuff will probably come out sooner or later. But like I said, man, I hope the best for the Celtics organization. They had a good team this year. Um, and wish the best to Neil Long, all the parties who were involved.
My other thing was, and again, I'm conspiracy theorist, but I was like, man, maybe, just maybe, what's the boy name? Brad Stevenson's
Brad
one his
Stevens.
guy. Maybe he wanted his guy.
We'll find out in a documentary 30 years from now.
30. Yep. Well, listen, if Jeff Mazzulla get a head coaching job next year, and Ime Udoka is back at the Boston Celtics, we're gonna see, man. Listen, that was an audition. He wanted his guy. He was trying to position his guy to get a job. Anyway, listen, a lot of stuff happened. Football world. A lot of upsets happened this week. A lot of ranking changes.
Mhm.
So what stood out to you, man? College football.
I think the biggest one was Kansas State being Oklahoma. Um, Martinez from Nebraska coming over to Kansas State. I really thought that they were going to be a good team. I forgot who they lost to, but they beat the brakes off of Missouri, which is, I mean, granted it's Missouri, but Missouri's been in the SEC for a while now, and we know that the Big 12 has been kind of a up and down. You don't really know what you're going to get, and then you have an Oklahoma team in the top 10 coming in and thinking that, you know what I mean, the biggest matchup coming up is going to be Texas, right? And you fall at home. It wasn't at home?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
not.
okay. I was about to say you should get it no. But yeah, that was the biggest one for me, man, because I think Kansas State dominated that game. Um, the score is not indicative of what happened on that field. So shout out to Kansas State, man.
I think I agree that Kansas State lost. That Kansas State Oklahoma game was huge. Kansas State, but Kansas State beat them. I think 4 times. Like they've upset them 4 times,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to say in the past couple of years. So I do think that was huge, but that wasn't. I mean, that was huge, but it wasn't to me as big as a couple of games. The Clemson Wake Forest game, and the reason I say that is because even though I picked Wake Forest to win, what I want to talk about is Clemson still being at 5. That's huge to me because I feel as though if you get pushed to the brink like that,
Mm-hmm.
and again I talked about last week, and other teams have shown that they look better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you still seated in that position? Like you've got pushed to the brink a couple times, Clemson, and you still holding down the number 5 seed. When we seen Georgia jump Alabama this year, they both won, but Georgia has looked like the more dominant team. Georgia jumped Bama. Why other teams can jump Clemson? Like
I think Clemson has the reputation, of course. And for 2, like, I mean, they're in the position to where you already know that as long as they just keep winning, they're going to be around that top 5. Because people have them as the best team in the ACC, and then they feel like the ACC is probably the 3rd best conference. So if them being the 3rd best conference and their best team is Clemson, and you have Georgia and Alabama and Ohio States and whatnot, then you got to put them in the top 5. You don't have to necessarily, because I mean they didn't play like a top 5 team. They haven't played like a top 5 team all year. I think it's just the fact of the matter that, I mean, their reputation is kind of like they've been king of the hill for so long. Kind of like that Alabama starts off at number 1 or number 2 every single year. So
No, I agree with you on that. It's just again when you don't look when you don't look like you said a top 5 team, and you don't look like you should get jumped. Like Kentucky, and maybe they just don't want to put Kentucky up there. But Kentucky has looked better than Clemson. Tennessee looked better than
Tennessee. I was about to say Tennessee.
Tennessee looked better than Clemson. I'm looking. Let me pull my note back up. Kentucky, Tennessee. I ain't gonna say USC because that's another one I think that should drop. It's US. I think USC should drop. North Carolina State, Penn State. Like, and I know we talk about heavy. Like the rankings, I guess, are a joke, but they technically aren't until we start more teams getting in, because these rankings are what make you, consider you a title favorite, a championship favorite.
Now, when does the college football rankings come out? In October, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the real one. I think this one right now is the fake one. It's the fluke one.
It's the fake one.
I think once they come up with the college football rankings, then that's where everybody should be at. Because I mean, like, you got a team like Texas who took Alabama to the brink, but then lost to Texas Tech. Like, how does that weigh into the rankings? You know what I mean? You got a team like Washington who beat the brakes pretty much off of Michigan State, even though Michigan State lost to Minnesota. Or they lost to Minnesota, right? Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't have it up. Washington looks like one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Pac-12 right now, especially with their quarterback play. I mean, it's always like you got to knock the king off. And the king in the past decade has been Alabama, Georgia, Clemson.
Yeah.
And as long in Ohio State. Even though I don't think they've won one.
Ohio State didn't win one, though.
So, but they've been in it. They've always been around. So it's like you got to keep them teams around until they get beat on a consistent basis, because they're always going to get the 5-star recruits. So their talent is always going to say that they're top 5. It's just a matter of, is their play going to actually do it?
Yeah, they're going to try to keep them in there. I get you until somebody knock them off. You said something interesting to me. It just had me thinking like, because you said Washington is probably the best team in the Pac-12.
Possibly.
Possibly, I know. Yeah, Oregon is ahead of them.
Right.
That Oregon is 3-1. Washington is 4-0. Why shouldn't Washington be ahead of? Shouldn't Washington be ahead of Oregon? Because Washington had a big. Well, I think Michigan was at either 11th or 10th at the time.
But what is USC ranked?
Well, that's true. I forgot about USC. USC is ranked 6th.
So that proves my point about the brand. I mean, like, why is USC 6? What had them preseason ranked? Because of Lincoln Riley?
Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams.
Yes,
and
I mean, granted, Caleb Williams is a great quarterback prospect. But to push USC from what did they have a winning record last year?
No.
To now we're preseason top 10, and all you got to do is just win to maintain.
Well, technically they was preseason. I think they was 15th, but they jumped up heavy.
Yeah, because they want to push that. I mean, like, if USC is winning, that's big for college football.
Yeah,
because you have that market. You know what I mean, and then it brings revenue into the Pac-12. I mean, and then it would kill that whole argument of SEC teams is always 2 in it or whatever, like you would have to put in an undefeated USC team over a 1-loss SEC team.
I think for me, it's just when there are other teams in your conference that clearly look like better than you. What? Why do you hold the top? Why do you hold that seat? That's my biggest thing. Because I want to talk about Michigan too.
Yeah, we definitely didn't look like a top 10 team at all, unless
I thought,
Maryland was that good.
I thought Baby Tua was going to beat y'all.
Yeah, I thought so too. Maybe that was a wake-up game. Who knows? But I mean, we typically look good against Maryland, so I mean, this one was kind of like, what's going on here? But I mean, at the end of the day, like Michigan is another one. Blue blood in football, and as long as they win, you know what I mean. They're gonna pack out 100,000 stadium in Ann Arbor, especially when they're winning. So,
but listen, okay, so listen.
I think money plays a factor as well.
Can't we say the same thing about Tennessee?
Tennessee doesn't. They have it, but they don't have it. Like the only thing that they have really is Peyton Manning.
Yeah, but the brand itself, Tennessee, the Vols,
No.
has a
When
name.
you think of Tennessee, you think of women's basketball, you think of Pat Summitt. And then you think of Manning.
Well, shoot, when I think of Michigan, I think about the Fab Five. Then I think of.
That's true, but you ultimately, yeah, the Fab Five, but then what else? After that, it's just football.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I think of Juwan Howard.
He part of the Fab Five. It's, man, I mean, you know what these programs, like
Yeah.
Tennessee is one of like the mid-tier SEC teams. And SEC teams all have culture when it comes to being in the like the original ones, like the Florida Gators, I'm not gonna say the Vanderbilts, but like the Georgia. Like when Georgia start getting good, then they start getting noticed. You know what I mean? They won a championship, and they have that brand. If Tennessee has to keep this role. If Tennessee keeps going, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't crack the top 10. Especially when I think they got to play Georgia, correct?
Yeah, they eighth now. They eighth right now. So yeah,
there it is.
They're gonna have a tough road. I just think, and again, they jumped 3 spots. I think they should have jumped a couple teams. But then again, it's like, who do you push back? But I think they look like a better team than Clemson. I think they look like a better team than Michigan.
You can push Michigan back. So I tell you, that was you can push Michigan back.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, but like you said, that's a blue blood organization. So I'm just trying to get Penn State. I'm just trying to get Penn State in the top 10. Man.
You know, one team I was rooting for this weekend, Arkansas.
Yeah, me too.
I wanted them to get over that hump because it was like if you beat Texas A&M, and what looks like could be not even a down year, but it's like they're not going to make the playoffs. All they're really going to do is mess up some people's stuff. Like if you had beat them, and the next week they play Alabama this week, right? That gives a boost into that game. Like you're going to have to beat Alabama now to have a close game. Then that's when, and then reign the table the rest of the way. That's when you have a talk and hope that, like, okay, if Alabama just loses one game, you know what I mean? Granted, it'd be a tiebreaker or whatnot, but it's just like, all right, we can come into the next. Like, I just wanted them in that program to get over that hump.
And the crazy thing about, like you said, getting over that hump is I think that one it would have been a confidence booster because from where they go from there, Bama, Mississippi State, BYU, Auburn, then they got Liberty in there, then they got LSU, Ole Miss.
And all of those are winnable games. in my opinion.
Yeah, they are winnable, but they tough.
They tough. I'm just saying that they had gotten like
And listen,
they
I
were
thought they was
trending
gonna
in
win
the
that
right
game.
direction.
I thought they was gonna win that game. Then Mississippi
Yeah,
turned it
me
on.
too.
I mean, then Texas A&M turned it on. But I don't get me started on coaching, man. Like coaching is with the way certain teams coach black quarterbacks is an indictment, in my opinion. And I'm just being real because people are always like, well, those are running quarterbacks. Well, that's how they've been coached their whole life.
Not all.
Most of them,
You got Byron Leftwich. Got
because he
Doug
couldn't
Williams
run.
middleware, the
Because he
Warren
couldn't
Moon.
run. But
But I'm
most
saying
of them,
like let's I mean, a lot of these guys start off in youth football and they may transition to the quarterback when they get older. And they probably played multiple positions. It's just
mm-hmm,
that this one, it's it's the fact of you have now a lot of athletes playing quarterback,
mm-hmm.
and they just so happen to be African American.
I think so. Why can't I start out as a quarterback as a youth? Like other people are starting out at quarterback as youth,
When you
just
got when you
pure
got
pocket
speed,
quarterbacks.
when you got speed, you give that one the ball.
I get it, but why? Because listen, I can tell you right now, my brother coach coach football for a minute. He got a quarterback who's a straight pocket passer. Been coaching him since he was 5 or 6. It's a
Mhm.
pocket passer. But then when he play against other teams who have African American quarterbacks, they're dual threats.
Mhm.
We aren't teaching them to be pocket passers. We're teaching them to be, you got speed, go run, dual threat. We're not teaching them longevity. We're not teaching them
Mm.
future. We're
Mm.
teaching them about right now.
Mm. Great point you make there.
Right? Most of the pocket quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, they have been playing pocket quarterback since they were youth. Most of us, our kind, have been playing dual threat quarterback since they were youth. Then when they get to the NFL, they say, well, you can't be a quarterback. You can't beat me from the pocket. I never had to beat nobody from the pocket since I was young.
Well, we're trying to make sure my son learns from the pocket, learns coverages.
Well, shoot, by the time he get in, well, yeah, he gonna learn coverages. By the time he get in, man, the listen, it's probably gonna be like 3 Caucasian quarterbacks in the NFL, and they're gonna be option quarterbacks too. Look at Trevor. Listen, Trevor Lawrence is
The
an option
Taysom Hills
quarterback,
of the world.
huh?
The Taysom Hills of the world.
Nah, Trevor Lawrence is an option quarterback.
You think so?
He can beat you from the pocket, but a lot of his stuff in college, what he running there is option.
Mm.
So,
Well, if Tim Tebow could have stayed, if he could have
he
read some
was he was
defenses, he'd have been.
he couldn't throw either. Like you still got to learn. You still got to be able to develop
Yeah,
develop the beat you
he
from the
still
pocket.
got to the NFL, man, and won a playoff game. He definitely
Yeah,
did
they
win a
did. They did win the playoff game. So
Can't take nothing away
can't
from
take
Tim
nothing away from
Tebow.
my man. So, but anyway, anything else you have? College?
Um, so far, I mean, we through the first quarter. Uh, what's your quick thoughts on your team, Penn State?
Ranked 11th, baby. Can we get in the top 10? That's my thing, man. I'm trying to get in the top 10 because I want us to be able to get at least when we go play Ohio State or Michigan. Is it for a bid? Is it for a force? Is it for a college championship? That's what
Yes.
I want. That's what I want. James Franklin still James Franklin there. But I wasn't high on Sean Clifford, but I'm still not high on him. But he balling this year. He balling. Not really turning the ball over. Got a lot of touchdowns. He doing all right. But James Franklin be James Franklin sometime.
If we just continue, and meaning Michigan, we continue to win games until we play Ohio State, play our best football, then get into the college playoff, then we can get some more recruits, so that way we can win a playoff game, and then hopefully in a few years win a national championship.
He said a few years.
Couple, 2, 3, 2.
Listen, y'all ranked number 4 now.
Yeah, and we, yep. So
right, listen.
Let's get through the Big Ten and see what happens.
Gotcha. Listen, let's jump into to this Sunday. I got a lot of things. I got a lot of questions for you.
Go ahead, man.
But I'm gonna hold off till we get through these games real quick. Let's go. Let's go NFC. Let's go AFC East. Buffalo, Dolphins.
Oh.
Do you believe in the Tuas?
I still think it's too early.
I'm with
you. I still think it's too early.
I'm with you.
And nothing against the guy at all. He played great these 3 weeks, but we all know how September can fool some people. So let's see what comes up in these next few weeks and see what happens when the temperature goes down a little bit. I mean, granted, I know he's playing in Miami, but let's just see when these games start meaning a lot more.
So, I don't believe in the Dolphins. They're 3 wins. New England.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they was gonna be anything. I think Biv had them to be dead last in that division, which it's starting to look like they probably gonna be dead last in that division. Baltimore. He beat up on Baltimore again. You beat up who in front of you.
But they were down in that game though.
24. I think they were down 21 in the fourth quarter.
Right. So
Baltimore had their JV secondary in there. I mean, they had all basically all rookies out there.
Yeah.
That's why he beat them. They came back. And Buffalo. Buffalo's backups are injured. So both their all-pro corner safeties are injured. Both their starting corners is injured. And then their 6th-rounder corner that they're starting is injured. And Buffalo still should have won the game. So again,
can we give credit to the Dolphins defense still? Because I
give credit to the Dolphins defense? No. But what I do give credit to is the Miami Heat, not the not the basketball team. They was talking about the design of that stadium and how it is and how it benefits the home team.
Yeah.
I think they were tired.
Well, hopefully they ain't got to play in Miami again. Is the Super Bowl in Miami this year?
Nope, it is in Arizona.
Okay, so yeah, they would much rather play in Arizona with the dry heat versus that humidity in Miami. But I mean, like, this is the type of granted, it's in a division, so it's like, but I think that this would be the loss in the division if they were to have one. At Miami, who we both felt like is the second best team in that division. So, I mean, when they come to Buffalo, if it's a little later in November or December, chances are temperatures and the way the weather is going to be to the Bills' benefit. So, I mean, the Bills can get out of this first quarter 3-1. I think that they're still straight.
Dang, that's going to be tough, though.
Who do they play this week?
They got Buffalo. They got Baltimore next week.
Okay. That's gonna be tough,
Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
but it's still a winnable game for them.
Yeah, it's still a winnable game.
Is it
And
in
I think in order
Buffalo?
for them to be who most people think they're gonna be,
Yeah, that's the game that you gotta win.
they gotta win these games. They can't drop a Miami game, but Baltimore, well, it's in Baltimore.
Mm.
That's gonna be the way Action Jackson playing, which I'll get to a little bit later.
Well, I mean, you didn't want to talk about the Patriots?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the Patriots. Mac Jones. Is he is he coming back? So this is what I want to say about the Patriots. Bill Belichick just, bruh, you don't. I'm not gonna say you don't know everything about football, but you can still learn.
Mm-hmm.
Learn that you need an OC. Learn that the way you played football before isn't necessarily the way that you can continuously play football. Learn that maybe Tom Brady, maybe he was a big factor in you winning.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, quarterback is the most important position, you would say, on the field.
So, and granted, he did take Mac Jones to the playoffs last year. He went 11, I think 11-6 or 10-7. So, but listen, that arrogance as I don't need an offensive coordinator. That's gonna hurt this young quarterback, and got this young quarterback hurt.
I still don't know what Belichick is doing to that franchise. I told y'all I think that he might be sabotaging it. And hey, man, it's a couple things, couple decisions that make you question Bill Belichick's intelligence in football, which you don't want to do because he's got a whole lot of rings. And he's a product of Bill Parcells. But I mean, I don't even think they should have won that game against Pittsburgh, to be quite honest. I think that if Kenny Pickett was probably playing, which we can get to that a little later, I think that the Steelers played well enough defense to win. I just think that it was a lack of offensive production. So I still don't believe in the Patriots, even though they put up 26 on the Ravens. Nick?
Yeah, I agree. I don't believe in the Patriots. The team that's the team that's interesting to me is the Jets. I was just looking at their stats the other day, earlier. They like 5th in the league in passing.
Don't let that fool you.
I know, but I'm like,
don't let that fool you. That's all from last week, bro. Don't let that fool you whatsoever.
No,
whatsoever.
Listen, the Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did put up big numbers against the
Browns.
Cleveland, against the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe, he put up now, granted, he threw 52 passes.
Mm.
But he put up 285 against the Bengals.
We can't negate that he threw how many passes?
52.
Okay. All right.
28 for 52.
28, and he threw for how many yards?
258.
So he threw 25 times for 258, or he completed 25 for 258.
28 times.
28. So it's not even.
52.
So it's not 10 yards a pass. It's less than 10 yards a pass or completion.
Yep.
Joe Flacco, he went from looking like an MVP to Joey need go back to UD. No, man. I still think they got a better chance with Zach Wilson.
I agree.
And I mean, that number is definitely inflated. I know we say that numbers don't lie, but that number lied. That number lied bad.
Yeah, numbers lie.
Because if that number was the truth, then this game would have been competitive, and it really wasn't. And I mean, 4 field goals against the defending AFC champions, no matter if they 0-2 or not, is not going to cut it. And you can have all the passing yards in the world, but you got to score points, score touchdowns.
I agree.
You're at home. You just came off a big win at Cleveland. The least you could do is put up a fight.
I agree. The Jets got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th best offense.
No, they don't. They don't.
But listen,
They don't.
like you said, well, 9th best. They are the 9th best yards wise. But like you said, they scored 17.3 points a game. So maybe, and that's why I said they're interesting to me, because maybe Zach Wilson, and coming back maybe week 4, does he change? Does he change the Jets?
A little bit, but I still think the Jets are still a couple years away. I just thought that they would be more competitive. I think Zach Wilson makes them more competitive. I still feel like they're going to be 3rd in the AFC East. But I think that Zach Wilson gives them a better shot to win 6 games. Possibly, about 7.
So I agree that Zach Wilson, because I think he's a better player than Joe Flacco, and I think he'll be able to get the most out of the weapons that he has. So that's why I think they're intriguing. They're 1 and 2. Him coming back, I don't think that he I don't think that he wins them more games, but I believe he makes them more competitive.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, man, listen, if you got to go be a dad, brother, I can go ahead and talk by myself.
It's all good. She trying to sleep, so.
I understand that life.
She was sleeping. Soon them cameras come on, man, she like, oh, I'm up.
She said it's time to perform.
I'm up. So, but yeah, I probably should have picked this division. Probably should have picked this division last because it's my division. But the NFC East.
Y'all like the best team in the NFC, bro. Y'all look like and playing like the best team in the NFC right now.
I agree.
I know you're loving it right now.
Did I have us? I think I had us in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, against us, which I don't.
I wish I could take that back.
Yeah.
Not
season left.
Not us being in there, but
Yeah, I know.
But Jalen Hurts, man, I think I said it in the beginning of the season. Offensive Player of the Year. He playing like it, and I think he's answered every. I heard somebody say this yesterday, yesterday, and it was stupid. I ain't gonna say it's stupid, but it made me think. Like they said, well, he's answered every question that you have about him. The only other question that you can have is, can he win from behind? And I was like, is that big? Is it that big? Can you win from behind?
I mean, that's a trait that you want a quarterback to have, to be able, because I mean that makes you trust them in all situations. I mean, because if you're a front runner, then yeah, but like, are you going to be able to lead us if we're down by 14 in the 4th quarter? Do we still have faith, or is it let's pack it up and go home? One of the things that Michael Jordan said was, a good man can talk noise when it's even score. An even better man can talk stuff when he's behind. But it takes a real man to talk when it's even score, not when they're ahead. And when it comes to the Eagles have been ahead in all 3 of their games and really haven't lost or been on the opposite side. So I'm not saying that's a knock to him, whatsoever because I mean he's been doing his thing to the point to where they're not behind and their defense is. So I mean, hopefully that's not something that people are like hanging their hats on. Like, oh, okay, the team's got to get down 21 to see what he's got. Like, no, if he's winning games, he's winning games. And right now he's 3-0. So keep him being the front runner. But as a person who's watched football for I don't know how many years, I trust my quarterback when I've seen them make comebacks. And that lets me know that we're never out of the game. So when you do that, that makes me like, okay, when we got the ball, what have you done for me lately? I can go to my team, but we're not going right now. But it's kind of like, all right, so we got you. Okay, we good. I got Josh Allen, fourth quarter, minute and 30 seconds to go, and we down by 2. It's game, in my opinion. Pat Mahomes, it's game. Tom Brady, it's game. Even maybe Josh Herbert, game.
I think for me, not saying I agree. Like, can you come back from a win? But I think if you can put up points and be ahead, get the leads, that should tell me that you can come, like, you can throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Can I beat you from the pocket? I think that is what shows me that you can win. Can I beat you from the pocket? Like, can I make plays?
Right.
And to me, he can make plays. So, but I get it. You know what I mean? So, the Commanders, man. Two things I want to talk about with that. They trying to force Dan Snyder out. That's another whole other topic. But Carson Wentz, he's not as bad as people make him out to be, but he does have flaws, and I do think that he could be the future of that team.
Mm-hmm.
Which quarterback is going to revolving door for them. But I think that he does have to learn how to take whatever the defense gives him, as opposed to trying to go for big plays. That's my argument.
And I mean, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Was how many? He got sacked like 9 times. Was that indicative of the Eagles' defense or the offensive line of the Redskins?
I think both. I think 3 things. I think it was the offensive line of the Redskins. I think it was the pass rush finally getting home. And I think it was Carson Wentz holding onto the ball.
Well, the 2 of the 3 is on the Redskins. So, I mean,
the Commanders.
Have to protect them. No, boy, you can tell my age. The Commanders. They them sisters. Yeah, the Commanders.
We don't want no smoke.
They're gonna have to protect them. They're gonna have to protect them for one to see what is it worth it? You know what I mean? But for 2, like you said, like I still feel like Carson Wentz hasn't been right since that day in LA when he got hurt.
I agree.
I don't know what it is. It seems like everything is too high when he took the pass, or it's in the dirt. And it's just like before that, like he was laser on everything. Like, yo, he was locked in. And I don't know where that Carson went. But I mean, still, this Carson is still good enough for the Commanders. I just feel as though I think that defensive window, especially without Chase, is something that you can't hang your hat on right now, and that's what the Commanders have pretty much. It's been the defense that's held them in games and made them division winners a couple of years ago. Yeah. Was the defense that was a calling card? It was just a matter of can we get a decent to slightly above average quarterback to get us into contention. And they got it now. It's just that the defense in my opinion, isn't really matching up. So there's a lot of factors out there in Washington that they got to fix, and especially with how the other 2 teams are playing. If the Giants win tonight,
Yeah, they 3-0. And going back to like shit, Carson was sacked 15 times. He's sacked 15 times. That's the most in the NFL. Again, 9 of them did come against us. Come against them on Sunday. But again, he still got 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. QBR trash. I mean, but he's still. I mean, he's an average quarterback, which can win you games. Like you said, if you surround him. Like you said, the other team played tonight. The other teams in the division played tonight. Bears had a big win on Sunday to the North. This got me thinking: is the North an underrated division?
No.
And can the Bears make noise this year?
Mm-mm. I get what you're saying as far as the Packers beating the Bucks. The Lions have been playing well these past 3 weeks. And the Vikings gave work out to the Packers. So it's like with like the 3 teams, 3 out of 4 teams seem like they're pretty good, and then the team that we thought was the worst is 2-1.
Yeah.
I just feel like the first game they
Well,
won.
they're not number one. The Vikings number one.
No. I mean, I said the Bears are 2-1.
Oh yeah, the Bears. Yeah, 2-1. Yep.
But the 49ers, them beating the 49ers, that was a monsoon. You can't really expect that, but they won. And they beat a Texans team that people feel like is in the bottom half
But
of
they play hard though.
Huh?
I said, but they play hard though.
They play hard though, yeah. But all right, we're gonna see when the Bears play the Vikings, and we see when the Bears play the
After they
Packers,
lose to the Packers.
and then when they play the Lions, what it is. I mean, the Lions is the only fact. The Lions and the Vikings are the factors that make this team, this division, I guess, underrated. Because I mean, the Vikings prove like, hey, we still might be big dog, but then they inconsistent. So
yeah. But this is why I asked about the Bears. Last year we started out 3-5, the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
We turned it around when we said, we know what, we're gonna do what Jalen does best, which is run the ball. Justin Fields, they can do that with Justin Fields. They're the second best rushing team in the NFL. They can run the ball with Justin Fields.
That's true. And
play good defense. And play good defense. Can they?
I'm not a believer.
Now listen, man. They won't win against the high-powered teams yet, like we didn't last year.
I'm not a believer yet.
I'm not a believer, but I'm just asking. Can they be this year last year's Eagles?
No, that's too far. That's way too far. Nope.
Jalen was a better passer than Justin, so we'll see. I'm with you. I do think that they're a bottom feeder, but that defense, the way that defense is playing right now, Matt Eberflus, he got something on his hands. Lions again, I think they play hard, but they find a way. They're gonna find a way. Had the game wrapped up.
Yeah.
But listen, even if you cover everybody, at worst it's tied. But nope, you did what the trick do. Find a way to lose the game.
I think they covered though. So
yeah, they covered.
So if you're looking for a team that might cover in some games that might shock some people, look out for the Lions.
Shoot, they got the number 3 offense in the NFL.
Wow, shout out to Jared Goff. I gave him much hell earlier.
Shout out to my man Jared Goff. Now they number 3 rushing team, so it ain't really him, but they still high power. Well, listen, He passed for 252 yards a game. Anyway, are the Packers still the best team in that division? TBD, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely is TBD.
TBD. I still think the Vikings are good. Take away the game that they played against us. I just think we're a different animal right now. No bias. Just
Nah, that's no bias at all.
just we're a different animal right now. We saw what they did with the Packers, and that was a gutsy win against the Lions. So, I think just that division is TBD, man. Where we at? The other North team, AFC,
AFC North.
Pittsburgh.
Who did Pittsburgh play?
Pittsburgh played Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Thursday night.
get rid of Mitchell Trubisky. If you go, the Browns are a very good team, but Mitchell Trubisky is not the answer. He's a backup.
He is a backup, but I think Kenny Pickett back up.
But Kenny Pickett is a rookie. Like if you're comparing the two and have them on the same level, and you have a veteran that was a top pick 2 years ago that was running the organization in Chicago not too long ago, and now it's been to Buffalo and here. I think he was in Buffalo, right?
Yep, he was with Buffalo last year.
So
didn't get a snap, which I don't know how he was so in demand. But anyway,
and I'm like, yo, you they picked Kenny in the first round, correct?
Yep.
I mean, unless you're trying this holding spot thing till my man get ready, man, that doesn't make sense to me. I still didn't see the hype from Mitchell Trubisky at UNC, but
me either.
Some people did. So
since you brought it up, I just want to throw it out there real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell Trubisky went ahead of Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. All right, that's all.
Chicago. They hope they got it right with Fields.
Justin Fields went ahead of no.
But I mean the Browns are still a very good team. That two-headed monster in the backfield, yo, that's the best in the league. I don't care what stats say. You got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb back there. All you got to do, if you're Jacoby Brissett, is just not mess up, in my opinion.
Yep.
And he's not the type to mess up quite often. So, I mean, 2-1. They should be 3-0. You know what I mean? So this is best case scenario in my opinion for the Browns.
Here's the thing. Like you said, just hold it down until Deshaun get there. My takeaway from the Browns is Amari Cooper he's still good. He's still that dude. Like, why did Dallas just get rid of him?
That might be a Jerry Jones issue, brother. He ain't gonna pay that man.
He didn't. That's why Dallas is struggling.
Yeah.
The Browns could be 3-0.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to ask is, if the Browns are like 8-3, 7-4, when Deshaun come back, do you just give him the job?
I don't know. Especially you had a team that's already in a rhythm with this quarterback and whatnot. I mean, listen, he's already been out 11 games. Just had that man as a backup, and I mean, if Jacoby keeps winning games, keep going with him. I mean, he did with Nick Foles.
That's a problem that I'm gonna talk about another team when we get there. But if I'm them, I'm like, Deshaun, go ahead and sit this one out. Go ahead and sit these. I guess it all depends on how they look when that time comes. So I think I would have to see how they look when that time comes. How are they winning the game? Is Mr. Trubisky? Is Jacoby Brissett the reason that they're winning games? So we'll see. Lamar Jackson, dog.
Hey, that man. His money.
Listen, it's over now. It's over. He said, bruh, once the season starts, it stops. Y'all had y'all chance. Now, he going to win the MVP, win the Super Bowl, and they're going to have to give him a blank check.
Yeah, that would be lovely. That would be definitely lovely. But he's definitely doing his thing, man.
And he going to get two people. He going to get a few people paid. Because if he win the Super Bowl and MVP,
everybody gets paid.
And he's facing, well, I'm talking about a couple people because I think a bunch of people won't get paid because you're a quarterback. But if he's facing who I think he's going to face, I had him facing one person, but he's going. But if he faces who I believe he's going to face, he's going to get him paid too. And that guy is Jalen Hurts. He's going to get Lamar. He's going to get a couple people paid.
Boy, this Mid-Atlantic area would be lit if Baltimore play Philly.
Baltimore, Philly.
Jeez Louise.
Jalen versus Lamar.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think that's good for the league and where it's going. I think that's good for football, and I think it's good for this.
Fly Eagles fly.
Huh?
Said Fly Eagles fly.
No, I'm just talking about if Lamar wins the Super Bowl.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Jalen is there.
Yeah.
It's good for the league because now you can actually people. The reason people aren't really endorsing the dual threat quarterbacks is because they don't think that they can win with them.
Yeah.
If you win a Super Bowl with them, then you say, "Oh, that does work." Also, I want to say this: you can win with a dual threat quarterback. Cam Newton was there. Okay, let's go. Let's get to. He was right, 15-1. He went to the Super Bowl.
And he lost.
He did lose, but he played the all-time good defense. Let's not forget that all-time great defense. But let's get to the rest of these divisions. So, wrap it up. NFC South. A couple things that stood out to me. Jameis Winston might not be it, man. I posted in my chat, one of my chats. I said Jameis might just need glasses.
But I thought he got eye surgery. I thought he got eye surgery.
He said that was supposed to help, man. That ain't work. So he just probably need glasses now. I don't know. Bruh, those people don't play for you.
He said they don't play for you.
They play in the other team, bro. Like in the Army, right? You had to do this test. When I was in the Army, it was a color test. And that's how you told it, see if you were colorblind. When all the colors start looking the same.
He got to do one of them tests.
Listen, he got to do something, bro. Maybe James is colorblind. Maybe he's colorblind. I don't know. But that team looking more and more like a team that's not going to make the playoffs. So, I mean, my prediction is going to be right, man. We're going to have a high pick with them.
That's the way it's looking. Because, I mean, they got the talent. They definitely got the talent.
Yeah, all the time.
I mean, to my opinion, this is a game that you should win against a team that, I mean, nobody really has faith in any one of those quarterbacks there in Carolina, and they still pulled out the win. So, oh boy, guess the Buccaneers still got it.
In my opinion, I don't know. Maybe the Buccaneers are the best team by default in that division because the whole division looked bad.
It sure does.
The best The team that's the most interesting team
It's
in the
Atlanta.
division is the Atlanta Falcons. They are the most. They are the most fun to watch team in the division.
And who did? Hold on, I'm trying to see. Who did they play? Who did? Okay, they beat the Seahawks. Yep. And I had the feeling they were going to beat the Seahawks because, um, I mean, that's not a Legion of Boom type defense. And I mean, the way that they came back against the Rams last week, I felt like they was going to use that momentum against the Seahawks. They felt like, I mean, the Rams won the Super Bowl. They got them as the best team, and we almost came back and beat them. So we should go out and beat this Seattle team in Seattle, which they did. So shout out to the Falcons, man.
The crazy thing is, the Falcons could easily be 3-0.
Yeah, I know, right?
It took a heroic performance to beat them by the Saints. It took a heroic performance for the Rams to beat them. And then they just beat the Seattle Seahawks. They are the most interesting team, most fun to watch team in this division. I don't trust none of the rest of the teams, and that's
No, I
including
really
Tom
don't.
Brady.
I really don't. If Tom Brady's got his receivers, yeah.
All right, so listen, people say people been saying that. People's been saying that. Week 1, he had all his wide receivers, scored 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I know. They still won though.
They won, yes, they did win. But
You gotta get the kinks out and whatnot. But I mean, the Bucks to me is the best team, like you said, by default. It's just the fact of how far are they going to go in the playoffs if they are the best team. And I really think if they have all their wide receivers healthy, they definitely have a shot, regardless of what happened in week 1.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get to the rest of these teams, man.
We can do a quick overview.
Yep. Quick overview. The West, AFC South, Jags best team in that division
By far.
by far. Don't trust nobody else in that division. The AFC West, overhyped.
I think Josh Daniels is the reason why you would say overhyped. I really think the Raiders are still a good team. I just think that it's a lot going on. I mean, they should have beat the Cardinals. They were in the game with the Titans. I think that's a game that they should have won.
And they was in the game against the Chargers. I agree.
And I don't know what's going on with offensive coordinator Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. They was having a bad day. I think that was indicative of their disagreement versus the Colts actually winning. The Chargers, in my opinion, they're always kind of inconsistent. It's just that this year you thought that they were going to get over the hump. But Jacksonville coming into LA, beating them was kind of like, I hope that this is a wake-up call for them, that you can't crown yourself at the beginning of the season. Because a lot of people have them as a team that's going to make it to the Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, and all of that. You can't start off the season 1-2 and losing to a team like the Jaguars like that. Not even just losing, but losing 38-10. No. So NFC West. NFC
West. Broncos. The Broncos don't look good. So it's the whole overhyped division. But to the NFC West.
Yeah, we can end on that. Who did the Rams play? The Rams played the Cardinals. So the Rams beat the Cardinals 20-12. Really thought the Cardinals would put up more of a fight in this game, especially with it being a division game and coming off a big win. But I'm still not sold on the Cardinals. The Rams, this is a game that you should win, even if it's in Arizona. But I mean, 2-1. However you get there, you win games.
Yeah, I agree.
They won ugly. They definitely had an ugly performance week 1. and they won ugly the past 2 weeks, but they're 2-1.
Not sold on no team in the division. I just maybe the Rams win the Super Bowl. They got let down. Cardinals. I don't know what Kyler Murray is. Seahawks. Nobody really had hope for them. And I guess the thing I can hang my hat on with y'all is y'all start slow, but y'all finish strong. But it's the same story.
Yeah, it really is. And it's getting irritating to me as a fan of the 49ers. Especially when your defense only gives up 11 points. And not even your defense. Like, they scored 2 points on a safety. So really gave up 9 points. And still lose.
We lost.
You lose 11-10. Like,
We
that's baseball
lost.
score.
The same, like I said, the same fashion we always lose in. The quarterback giving up points. They were so hyped when he got back.
I said he pulled a Dan Orlovsky, yo. He really listen. Even as a fan, I was struggling to stay up for one. I would fall asleep during the commercials, but then when it was midway through the fourth quarter, I turned the TV off. I said, you know what? I don't even know what's going to happen, and at this point, I don't even care because we shouldn't even be 11-10. It shouldn't even be 11-10. Stop. Like, yo, we need to find more running back depth. Stop with Debo in the backfield. I get it, but it's becoming a gimmick now, and it's you're wearing it out. Like, it was fun while it lasted, but let's not have him as an actual running back.
Or just make him that.
But he's not that.
Listen.
Like, you get him in
got like
space,
300 yards rushing.
yeah. You want to give him
like
the ball, yeah. But wide receiver screens if you want to do that. End around if you want to do that. Let's not have this man lined up at the tailback and giving him the ball and talk about run a zone play. Like, yo, stop it. You talking about people needing an offensive coordinator? We need an offensive coordinator. Like, honestly, like, yo, I've had comments and talks with my 49er friends and whatnot. Like, bro, they don't like the play calling. It's always an issue with the play calling, and then Jimmy G don't help. So at the end of the day, like, the defense of the Broncos is not taking anything away from them. But in the NFL, if you other team has 11 points, 9 times out of 10 you're winning that game.
Gonna win that game.
And for us to lose with 10, like, we couldn't even get a field goal to win the game.
And y'all lost on the safety. And here's the thing. That's what Trey was supposed to be for. To open up the offense. But I also believe that, like, a lot of people think Kyle Shanahan is a great mind. A lot of people think that. I'm not one of those ones that subscribe to that. Because it's a lot of pre-snap motion and stuff like that. And to do what he did, he got Trey injured. Let's just be real. Trey is not he's using him as a power running back. Same thing same way he's using Debo. You're gonna wear them down.
It's like he's trying to use his daddy's style in this type of game where, like, you continue to run the ball. Like, I really think, like, his dream game was when we beat the Vikings and Garoppolo only threw the ball 8 times. But, like, that's not going to happen, bro. Like, this is a passing league, and granted, we've been very good at running the ball and been a very good, consistent team when we have a decent quarterback with running the ball. But at the end of the day, bro, Jimmy's got to step up, because if you want a contract somewhere, bro, you got to play ball. And when it comes to, I mean, I hope Trent Williams is all right, because after he left, boy, it seemed like the floodworks came. Jeez Louise. But that's enough talk about the 49ers. They lost in the ugliest fashion. you could on national television. It is what it is. So my wife is happy. Her team is 3-0. My team is 1-2. As long as we win next week, I'm okay. Just stay 500, stay the course, and don't let the Rams get too far ahead of us.
Cool. I'm with you. All right, so listen, go and wrap it up.
Yep.
Got two things for you. What was the underrated sports moment of the week?
Underrated sports moment of the week. I honestly don't have one.
I really didn't have one either. I saw something that Floyd fought this Japanese MMA guy, knocked him out in the second round. So I'm gonna say that's it. Final thoughts.
My final thoughts is that in life, it is a marathon, not a sprint. When we talk about sports and love the sports teams that we have, sometimes we get wrapped up and just think like, oh, it's going all downhill and whatnot, but it's a marathon. Even if it's through different seasons, it's still a marathon. So I hang my head on 1994.
My final thought is, in life, you're going to have ups and downs. I would say find out what you're passionate about and make the most of it.
Dummy Llama back.
So that's my final thought. That's the show for today. If you like what you saw, subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page. You can also check us out on our LinkedIn. Everywhere we are is in our LinkedIn. But until next time, speak on it.